Tonight on the Black Channel. Remember when just last year the old black media was telling you that Texas and Georgia and Florida were all gonna turn blue and become Democrat states? Well, something crazy happened on the way to the registration office. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media. And this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college and university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program, oh man, what a difference a year makes here. And understand, we have been telling you for the longest time, because we need to outline to you so that you understand what are the principles and what are the characteristics that determine a credible source of news and information. And up until now, you had all been conditioned to believe that the only credible sources of news and information that you can have would be the corporate media outlets. And then you started taking a look at what was supposed to be your black media outlets, and they were swearing up and down, well, I mean, if somebody listens to us here, then if we can tune in someplace, well, we must be credible. And we were the ones who told you, whoa, they've got to have comprehensive knowledge of these things. Can't be some mush-mouthed Negro mumbling and bumbling his way through things. They have to be authoritative, but they've also got to be predictive. And when they make these predictions, those predictions have got to pan out so that people can understand the difference between an incident, a trend, and an actual pattern. And then finally, an actual movement in societal behavior. And if you don't have reliable sources that can give you that information, then you're going to be going in the wrong direction. The real crime and atrocity of the old black media is that they are all media puppets who regurgitate whatever they are told to by their socio-political masters. It doesn't matter if it's false. It doesn't matter if it's a lie. It doesn't matter if it's outright made up propaganda. Their job is to sell the soap and to sell you down the river. Our job is to make sure you have actionable information. So when all these people were talking about how this was the Democrats were winning, and boy, this is the new normal, and Stacey Abrams had things in the palm of her hands, and Andrew Gillum, well, when he finished doing what Gillum does, oh boy, this is a blue wave, and boy, it's gonna be great out here, and oh, you know, the buffer class strategy is working so great and all and everything, and oh man, oh hell. Just a year later, hang on to your hats, because I've got more than just one story to deal with here tonight. There's more than just one. But I want to start with this one here. I want to start with this one. Here in particular. Florida Democrats, from the Associated Press. Florida Democrats aim to rebound as GOP voting numbers grow. Now read that sub-headline. Let me go ahead and zoom in on this because I want you to see that sub-headline. This sub-headline is everything. It should have been the damn headline. If you want to know why it is they're bothering to put out this story, take a look at the sub-headline here. Do you read what that says? In Florida, for the first time in modern history, registered Republican voters outnumber Democrats. So let me get this straight. After Biden won, they were telling you that everything was turning blue and Florida was going to flip blue, and oh, blue, 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 blue. Oh, the Democrats got this handily in hand, and you Negroes need to just be grateful that they let you stand on the street corners and whatnot. Oh, it's all over from here. Yeah, it's clear skies. Everything's going great. Boy, I'm telling you, don't these corporate media outlets just lie through their asses? Don't they just lie through their asses? After telling everybody, oh man, everything's going to turn blue and all of y'all just need to get with it and recognize that's what is happening there. It's going blue, blue, blue. And then next thing you know, oh, by the way, yeah, we were just lying through our damn teeth. CNN and MSNBC and Bowling Ball Martin, they just all get out here and lie through their teeth. That's what they do. Whoever has paid them, they just get out here and lie. That's all. They just lie. And now here you are. Not only are they telling you that things are not getting bluer, in just the last year, there are more Republicans registered to vote than Democrats. Now, this has absolutely nothing to do with voter suppression at this point. That's got nothing to do with that there when you have this surge like that. Now, who is the largest growing demographic in the state of Florida? What is the largest growing demographic in Florida? Oh, yeah, Latinos. Now you've got more registered Republicans than ever. Anybody see a connection? Now, the article here by Anthony Izaguirre, Dateline, Tallahassee, Florida. In Florida, for the first time in modern history, registered Republican voters outnumber Democrats. Republican Governor Ron DeSantis, I've warned you about him with this faux Latino thing that he's got going on for a while. And if you wonder whether or not it was working, for those of you who are wondering if I was right about that or not, if you wondered whether or not it was working, if you doubted I was correct about it, I'd like to find anybody who was doubting me then who will say, come back and stand by your words now. For the folks who were thinking that, oh, well, it's too much like Trump, excuse me, that appeals to that Latino demographic. I was saying this the whole time. Saying it the entire time. Don't look for anybody who was doubting it to come back and apologize. Don't look for that to occur. I just wanted to go ahead and remind you. By the way, if you've been listening to the Black Channel, you were way ahead of the curve. You've been way ahead of the curve. To all the folks who said, oh, Trump couldn't win Florida, this was the only outlet that was telling you that was Trump's way of doing things was precisely the reason that he was going to win. And then Ron DeSantis, I said, oh no, he's going to double down on Trump's success. And he damn sure has. And they've come with him. As I said, they are looking for the white Anglo strongman who ingratiates himself in those circles, in those Latino circles, in that way in which they understand, the white Latinos understand the need of the Anglo strongman. They identify with that. They go hand in hand with that. Now listen to this. Governor Ron DeSantis is heading into a re-election campaign buoyed by a national profile and a cash reserve unmatched by any Democratic challenger, and Republicans control virtually all of state government. Well, I'll be damned. Bowling Ball, Sack of Potatoes Martin told us all that Florida was flipping blue, and ABC and CNN told everybody it was flipping blue, and oh boy, it just couldn't wait to be a Democrat stronghold. Man, it's all downhill. Can't you tell they're turning bluer by the day? Isn't that what they said? You look up now and realize you bastards just lie. You lie about everything. Boy. The article goes on to say, when Democrats met recently for their annual strategy conference, Annette Taddeo, a Democratic state senator running for governor, said there was a clear sense of the difficulties ahead for the party. Quote, of course, this fight will not be easy, but it's about so much more than any one of us. And as Florida Democrats, we have lost so many times that donors and pundits have given up on us. This is the chick who wants to run for governor. Talk about the bad news bears. This is DeSantis competition talking. This is DeSantis competent? It's like when the Harlem Globetrotters take on, what is that, the Washington Generals? This is his would-be competitor talking. Of course, this fight will not be easy, but it's about so much more than any one of us. And as Florida Democrats, we have lost so many times that donors and pundits have given up on us, Taddeo said. But she added, quote, "I believe and I know we can win if we create the coalition of voters that are needed to win in a state where these decisions are made by 1% or less." Here she is walking in the door talking about a damn coalition. The guy who is spanking her. The guy who is spanking her ain't talking about no damn coalitions. She's talking about, well, if we put together a coalition of voters, and we can make a coalition, baby, you ain't losing by 1%. It's not 1% that you're losing by. When you have this kind of imaginary, delusional talk going on, just understand you're in trouble. You're in trouble here. They go on to say, with the 2022 election approaching, Democrats are confronting a host of disadvantages as they work to rebuild campaign networks and try to reignite excitement in their party. There is a growing worry that big donors and the national wing of the party may consider Florida to be GOP territory after years of bruising losses. Well, what the hell happened to Florida's going blue? Texas is going blue. Georgia's going blue. What the hell happened? Just last year, that's what the hell they were chanting over and over. Florida's going blue. Roland Martin talking about if we can work down there in Florida. Remember, I did a whole program with us talking about that. That's what they were saying. Now they're turning around and saying what we've been saying here the whole time. Understand, these national white supremacist, black bootlick corporate media apparatus, they're going to just lie through their damn teeth up until the very last second when they no longer can. If you want the place that's going to give you the skinny, going to give it to you straight down the middle and say exactly what the facts really are, you got to come here. You got to come here. These other folks are going to look you dead in the eye and lie to you. You got to come here if you want to find out what's really going on. Because we're not changing up what we said. You know this. I've been saying this the whole time. Well, Jason Biden won in 2020. Where are all the Biden won in 2020 people? Where are you? Where are all the people who said Biden won in 2020? Jason, isn't that proof that what you've been saying the whole time is not correct? You just don't want to admit that you were wrong. I sat there and told you all this was not a retreat. This was a relapse. The numbers and the data very clearly show what this is. And I never changed my position on it, not one bit. I have never backed up 1 inch, not 1 centimeter. Never compromised. And I sat there all this time. If what I was saying was wrong, then you would see some proof come barreling down the trail that something different is occurring. And it doesn't matter what metric you are looking at, it all looks the same. Florida is going more red, more Republican, not less. Virginia went more red, more Republican, not less. And the beat goes on. And the list goes on. I never compromised or changed what it was because I wanted you all to be aware of the difference between people sitting up here getting their analysis from headlines given to you by the propagandist media and those of us who are actually studying these things. I don't go based on headlines. I take a look at actual analysis, data, information. Remember, in the Virginia's race, I looked. Remember, for those of you who saw the program that I did after Virginia's race, when Terry McAuliffe lost, to Youngkin. Remember, I went over the numbers. I went over the exit polls. I went over the outcomes and showed you where the problem was. Showed you the difference in his win before when he ran for governor and his loss this time. I showed you specifically where those numbers came from. Showed you specifically how it happened. Showed you specifically where the changes were. I wasn't going based off some headline given to me by Reuters or the Associated Press. I went based off of what we were able to calculate. I went based off of what we showed. This is why it's so important to have an independent news think tank that actually takes a look at data, takes a look at laws, takes a look at bills, takes a look at surveys, takes a look at Pew Research, takes a look at these things and then interprets it in your interests. So all the people who were saying, well, Jason, what about 2020? Yeah, they're real damn silent. Remember, I said that from the very beginning. When Biden started floundering and started selling them down the river and none of them could defend him, I said, where are all y'all Biden butt kissers now? You need to stand up. They were real damn quiet. We weren't guessing our way through this. They go on to say, quote, in the current state of American politics, and especially in a state with as many major television markets and population centers, you're going to need more help, said State Rep Evan Jean, a Democrat. Quote, it's not as if Floridians can't be swayed one way or the other. We need more coordination with the national party. In other words, we need more money. The Democratic Governors Association has bristled at assertions that it has ceded Florida to Republicans. A spokesperson for the group is building its general election infrastructure with investments in media and messaging. The Democratic National Committee is stepping up organizing efforts in the state. Quote, Florida is a competitive battleground in 2022, and the DGA has made defeating DeSantis a priority. That's why we've already started investing in Florida and are working with our candidates to ensure we have what it takes to take on DeSantis next fall, said Marshall Cohen, political director for the Governors Group. Florida Republicans are coming off a string of victories that include Donald Trump's 2 presidential campaigns and have been aggressive in organizing at the local level, especially as DeSantis has gained in popularity due to his opposition to coronavirus lockdowns and mandates. Let me say that again. DeSantis has gained in popularity due to his opposition to coronavirus lockdowns and mandates. He's gained in popularity. He's gained in popularity. If DeSantis's numbers have increased, that must mean that somebody else's numbers have decreased. That must mean somebody else's numbers have decreased. I wonder who that could be. I wonder whose numbers are going down while DeSantis's numbers are going up. I wonder who that could be. And once again, by the way, was it somebody here? Oh, yes, I got to beat my drum. Wasn't it this microphone here at the headquarters of the black media? Wasn't it this microphone that specifically said that Ron DeSantis fancies himself as running for president in 2024? Wasn't it this microphone that specifically said that Ron DeSantis was angling to run for president in 2024 and that he was a little less crazy than Donald Trump, a little less radical than Donald Trump, and that Donald Trump would have won the presidency, would have won re-election in 2020 had he been a little less radical and a little less white supremacist. If he had not been such a blatant white supremacist, he could have won. And I said the whole time, Ron DeSantis is Donald Trump a little less white supremacist. And he can win. Anybody telling themselves that Ron DeSantis cannot win the presidency is just a brain-dead, zombified Negro just following whatever Biden tells them. This guy can win. I've said it since the very beginning. I was the first person to say he's angling to run for president, and he can win. I've been down to Florida. This guy can win. Biden is not popular. All this crap about forcing people to take jabs, that's only popular among the brain dead bootlicking people who are already kissing Biden's butt. Those are the only people who think that's a great, wonderful thing. Literally everybody else is like, man, get the hell out of here. So the only people who believe in Biden are the butt kissers and flunkies who are already on the team. Everybody who's not already on the team is against it, but they live in their own little myopic bubble, and their view from the bubble is everybody loves kissing butt in the bubble. These folks are completely out of touch with the rest of the world, and they think they can bully everybody else, and you've left a lane wide open to somebody else. You left the lane wide open. And this guy is trying to drive a 757 through it. Forget a damn truck. And yes, you can drive an airplane. Terrible gas mileage, but you can. In any case here, yeah, exactly what I've been saying all this time. Literally everything I told you all this time. And it's all coming back and it's all coming through. And now they weren't saying this when I was saying it because they didn't want to admit that we were right and they were just lying. Now they can't lie anymore because the numbers are whooping their asses. So now they're trying to position themselves to be able to say, well, you know, we did say it at some point. Okay, how is it that Jason Black knew all of this a year or 2 years before your corporate media outlets with billions of dollars in resources? How is it that I realized all of this years ago and they didn't? Because I'm not some puppet outlet talking. That's the reason why. It isn't because they don't know it. It's because they're trying to propagandize you. I'm trying to inform you. Now, the article goes on to say, quote, "We did not dismantle any operations. To the contrary, we continued to build on them," said Helen Aguirre Ferrer, executive director of the state Republican Party. Quote, "The power is from the bottom up. It's not top down. And that continues to be our big commitment." In other words, Trump support came from the ground up. It didn't come from the political leaders in Washington down. They go on to say some have noted that there may be hesitance for Democratic donors to pour money into Florida, given the party's track record. Most recently in 2020, when Trump carried the state and Republicans gained additional seats in the state house and in Congress, despite a $100 million infusion by former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg. Now, either he needed a hell of a tax write-off or this guy just keeps taking L's. Oh, Bloomberg. But in any case, DeSantis announced last month that Republicans had gained a slight advantage over Democrats in the number of registered voters for the first time in state history. Over the past decade, Republicans had slowly been gaining on Democrats, and DeSantis and Republicans had made a sustained push on registration. The most up-to-date figures from the state election agency show 5,120,076 registered Republicans and 5,095,008 Democrats. At the same time, the number of unaffiliated voters has swelled to 3.8 million. DeSantis won office in 2018 by a margin of 32,000 votes after a key endorsement from Trump in a year when Democrats outnumbered Republicans by more than 250,000 voters. Let me say that again. DeSantis won in 2018 in a year when Democrats outnumbered Republicans by more than 250,000 votes. DeSantis won by 32,000 votes, even though Democrats outnumbered Republicans by 250,000 votes. Now, Republican voters outright outnumbered Democrat voters. Wonder how this re-election campaign is going to go. Understand, these are not Jason Black's numbers coming at you here. These are numbers from the state of Florida, and ABC News and all these other news outlets are finally acknowledging what I've been saying the entire time. When I talked about Trump winning Florida the entire time, while all of them and Roland Martin were telling you, oh, there's a bunch of Latinos in Florida, and Latinos are not going to vote for Trump, and they certainly wouldn't vote for DeSantis. The Latinos, it's a Latino thing. Latinos! And Jason Black was the lone voice telling you all that my travels in Florida, I had seen the get down. I saw what they were saying, and I had talked to enough people who were ostensibly Latino, but they did not identify that way. They identified functionally as white people, and more importantly, as Republicans. And I was saying that the entire time, and I have been steadfast about that. Go back to my 2016 programming when Trump ran for president. I said it the whole time, never wavered, never compromised, called the election in advance, called it on 3 separate programs for the state of Florida, and said what would happen, and more importantly, why it would happen and who it was. The only places that Biden was able to get any traction were the places where black folk are. Tallahassee, Jacksonville, everything else, forget about it. Never wavered on that. That's the difference between someone who's regurgitating propaganda and someone who is giving you actual analysis from the facts on the ground. So the rest of them got caught with their pants down, and I was the one who actually got it right. They go on to say here, quote, Florida voters are choosing the Republican Party over the Democratic Party because we value freedom and liberty and reject Democrat-led government control. This milestone moment reflects years of hard work combined with the success of our common sense conservative policies, DeSantis said in an email announcing the voter registration numbers. Still, Republican strategist Susie Wiles said it's important for the GOP to continue to organize and be bullish about registering voters. Quote, the assumption that it's a reliably red state is one you should never make because the state is so dynamic and so many new people moving in and out. Please, there's more people moving in. And it's just a very diverse population base that's changing all the time, said Wiles, who ran Trump's campaigns in Florida. I just don't think we as Republicans should ever stop. And the good news is that we haven't over the last decade. Steve Shale, a political strategist who helped Barack Obama win Florida twice in his White House races, said Democratic registration efforts have mostly centered around presidential races. But Shale said the party could benefit from sustained organizing, particularly in Hispanic communities in South Florida, that helped Trump win Florida last year by an even larger margin in 2016. Anybody who lives south of Fort Lauderdale knows this is whistling past the graveyard. Hell, anybody who lives south of Disneyland knows that that's whistling past the graveyard. These people are talking absolute fantasy. John McCain could not win. Mitt Romney could not win. Donald Trump can win. DeSantis has already won. So you have, once again, a bunch of political myopic individuals speaking nonsense they don't even know. They don't even know. The Hispanic vote, that's how you got into this mess. This is your brain trust talking here that claims they're going to save you now. They claim they're going to save you. They claim they're going to save you. That's what they claim they're going to do. The Hispanic vote's going to save them now. Yeah, the Hispanic vote, they just need to double down on that. In other words, we're going to focus on giving benefits to Latinos while telling black people that you all need to turn out and vote so that we can fight we need black folk to just be a given so we can go fight for the Latino vote and give them benefits. And tell black folk, look, you better work with these Latinos that we've been fighting with to give benefits to. We ain't gonna fight to give you a damn thing but a boot up the ass and a life sentence. But the Latinos, we gonna fight to get them something. You black folks, it needs to be a given that you gonna do something for us. Exactly what I was telling you about here before. But in my efforts to make sure that we kick a dead dog while he's down, while DeSantis and the Republicans are coming up, oh hell, the Democrats are on their way down. President Biden's job approval sinking on inflation, crime, and COVID. Biden's approval on many issues has hit new lows. So let me get this straight. The Republicans are hitting new highs, and the Democrats, all you Biden butt kissers who were sitting there doing your plantation jig, along with all the other slaves, butt dancing your asses off, now you're taking the new L. L not just standing for losses, but L standing for lows. Oh man, what the hell's going on over there? Because remember, they were telling us how popular Biden was. It was so great. Remember 2020? Jason Black never changed what he said. Jason Black said this guy is not popular. No, he squeaked by the skin of his teeth and some things that people suggest was some chicanery. But understand something, this guy ain't got nowhere. Well, if Jason Black was wrong, then the numbers should clearly bear that out now, why he should be more popular than ever. Right? All you Biden butt kissers? Right? He was going to be more popular. Right? President Joe Biden is facing significant skepticism from the American public, with his job approval rating lagging across a range of major issues, including new lows for his handling of crime, gun violence, and the economic recovery. ABC Ipsos poll finds, as the White House confronts rising and widespread concern about inflation, Americans are especially negative on how Biden is managing this issue. More than 2/3 of Americans disapprove of how Biden is handling inflation. Only 28% approve, while more than half, 57%, disapprove of his handling of the economic recovery. Partisan splits for inflation show expected negativity in Republican views, 94%, but the survey also reveals weaknesses from Biden's own party, with only a slim majority of Democrats, 54%, approving. Biden's orbit is also hemorrhaging independent voters, with 71% disapproving of his handling of inflation. The ABC Ipsos poll, which was conducted by Ipsos in partnership with ABC News using Ipsos Knowledge Panel, reveals these rocky ratings for Biden at a time when the bulk of Americans name inflation and paying everyday bills as a top concern. Now, we all know presidential elections are won and lost on people's pocketbooks. They may ignore everything else. They might ignore wars, but if they themselves are personally suffering, they vote in a different direction. And what are they telling you? That people are saying that the price of gas, the price of bread, the price of poultry, the price of meat, that's inflation. These prices have gone up, and they're looking at him while he's telling you, by the way, I'm going to take your job if you don't get some of these questionable medications we're trying to force you to get into. Instead of him being the most quiet president he can be and jumping on something else, he's saying, by the way, let me throw the border open to illegals, anybody else who wants to get in, because this virus is such a problem. I don't care if the illegals are showing up with it. Now, I do care if you got it, but about them, yeah, okay. Yeah, it wasn't taking a toll on him, right? This wasn't taking a toll on him, right? This wasn't doing any damage, right? This wasn't hurting his numbers, right? Everybody's in favor of it, right? Yeah, that's what the corporate media has been telling you all this time. Everybody's in favor of it. Everybody loves it. Oh, sure, this is great. Everybody loves it. Now they're having to admit, oh, well, yeah, they actually don't. Understand, these lying bastards, they will just simply lie up until the very last second. They will lie up until the very last second. As soon as they get the egg all over their faces, they'll tell you, well, that was just a one-time anomaly. And then after a decade of losses, they'll tell you, well, this decade was an anomaly. They go on to say the ABC Ipsos poll, which was conducted by Ipsos in partnership with ABC News, concern about inflation has eclipsed worry about the coronavirus pandemic, according to recent polls from Monmouth and AP Nork, as Republicans continuously spotlight rising prices at the gas pump and the grocery store as a key issue for the upcoming midterm elections, likely to be a referendum on Biden's performance. So they're looking to make the 2022 midterm elections a referendum on Biden. And Biden is already, for those of you who weren't aware, Biden has been sending around emails to CNN and MSNBC and whatnot, letting them know that the coverage of him hasn't been so favorable, and he feels that's hurting his approval with the people. So he wants them to give him more favorable coverage. He's barely a year into his presidency, and he's letting you know already he's in major trouble. Now, if Bowling Ball Martin was so right about literally anything he said, how is it that they're in dire straits now? And I told you from the very beginning, oh no, he's in trouble in day one. He's in trouble at day one. We never wavered. They go on to say these low job assessments in areas of high public concern have led to a new low in Biden's overall approval rating, measured by 538 at 43%. The findings show Biden slightly above water in one sector, his handling of COVID-19. A slim majority, 53% of Americans approve of Biden's handling. That 53% is probably members of the news media, academics, and the board of Pfizer. The board of Pfizer and Moderna. I wonder if you don't count them. I wonder if you still how those numbers go then if you don't count them. Oh yeah, the news media that gets advertising dollars from the pharmaceutical companies. But if you don't count them, I wonder what you get then. Even so, Biden's COVID approval rating is now numerically at its lowest point in ABC Ipsos polling since he took office. Another warning sign for what might be a tough battle to maintain majorities in the U.S. House and Senate. People, now, for those of you who've been listening to the Black Channel, following the Black Channel, listening to the Black media, this isn't news to you. This isn't news to you. You've known this the entire time. You were not fooled by that head fake of an election in 2020. For those of you who've been listening to us the entire time now, you were never shaken and you were never fooled by that head fake of an election in 2020. You weren't fooled by that. That didn't mislead you. That didn't deceive you. You understood what the hell you were looking at. Now, everybody else, if you were listening to Bowling Ball Martin, oh, you dumbasses, you got fooled. Those of you who were listening to us here, you were not surprised. None of this frightened you. None of this worried you. None of this disturbed you. You didn't get fooled by it. You didn't start changing what you were doing. You understood exactly what the hell you were seeing because you were here getting accurate insight and analysis of what it actually meant. And I told you all, hold steady. Don't get fooled by a temporary aberration. Hold steady. Now remember, if I were wrong, you should have seen these numbers reverse within the last year. His numbers should have gone down and then started to recover. They're going down and then heading into free fall. And as this drags on, it will get worse. Now remember something else I also told you here from the headquarters of the Black media. Remember I told you that as his numbers get worse, when it's time for re-election in 2022, you're going to hear Biden saying that things are getting better and that we're going to loosen up these restrictions. You're not going to hear a whole lot about My prediction is that you're not going to hear a whole lot about mandates by this time 2022, when it's time to go to the elections, you're not going to hear him sitting up here trying to strong arm anybody in the mandates. And you're certainly not going to see any of the elected officials who want to run for office talking about, yeah, we're going to take your jobs from you and everybody better line up at the altar of Pfizer. You're not going to be hearing that. All of a sudden, they're going to get real quiet and declare, oh, everything's great. Everything's fine. Why, we've gotten great numbers. Why, herd immunity is here. They're going to tell everybody everything's great, everything's fine. We're doing great. All of our methods are working. Remember, I told you that. Well, Jason, when? When it's time for them to get elected. That's when they're going to start easing up on that and stopping that bull crap. Then all of a sudden, okay, well, we better ease off on Pfizer's profits here. We got to get elected. So, yeah, now there's time for the people to speak up. Okay, everything's fine. Everything's great. No, don't worry. Everybody can keep their jobs. We're good now. Yeah, we're not going to try to force nobody to do anything else. Yeah. Oh, you want to fly? You want to travel? Yeah, everything's great. No problem. Yeah, you can go ahead and do that. You go ahead and do that. Yeah, would you want to be running for election during a holiday season, telling people that you're not going to let them on airplanes if they don't go see the people at Pfizer and go make them rich? You want to see how that goes for you? So just understand, you want to know when they're going to ease up on it when they start getting held accountable. Right about that time. I said that too. The article goes on to say the White House has expanded federal COVID-19 mitigation efforts as forced vaccine efforts. Notice how the duplicitous, deceptive, deceitful, demonic media sits up hearing words this stuff. Biden has stood by his politically controversial decision to require vaccinations. Shouldn't it be forced vaccinations for federal employees and all contractors? A move affecting millions of workers in the public and private sectors. The decision, challenged by state GOP lawmakers, was recently blocked by a U.S. district court. That said, a bare majority of Americans, 51% are on Biden's side regarding vaccine mandates. By the way, as anybody knows from any poll, 51% is well within the margin of error. So you figure this is already a bogus poll to begin with, but 51% is well within the margin of error. So that isn't anything to write home about. Most likely, what you're really trying to say is the majority are against it. 7 in 10 Americans believe that mask mandates should remain the same or be more strict. Biden also sees lagging support for his handling of rising rates of violence in many places across the country. As the national murder rate sees historic jumps, only a little more than 1 in 3 Americans, 36%, approve of Biden's handling of crime, down from 43% in ABC News Ipsos poll in late October. So he's fallen, 7% in just 2 months? As I said, in free fall. The numbers are in free fall. Similarly, approval of Biden's handling of gun violence is 32%, down from 39% in the October poll. That figure shrinks among nonpartisans, with only 1 in 4 independents approving of Biden's work on gun violence. A slim majority of Americans, 51%, disapprove of Biden's handling of climate change. Let me say that again. A slim majority of Americans disapprove of his handling of climate change. Hasn't he been running around yelling about all this climate stuff and he's going to do this, that, and the other and force everybody to get an electric car? Yeah, things are going great. Biden butt kissers, Roland Martin, you thought you were going to get a job at the White House. All you Biden butt kissers. Shouldn't y'all come up here and be proudly cheering? Shouldn't you be proudly standing up now? Shouldn't you be strutting down the catwalk? We can't find any of you now. Yeah, because you're all fair weather friends. You back Biden when you think he's winning. As soon as he starts losing, you all show what cowards you are. Can't find any of you now. I told you before, it's gonna be a long, ugly presidency for you Biden butt kissers. It's gonna be a long, ugly one for you. You ain't got nothing to feel good about. Damn. You got nothing to feel good about. Well, them's the breaks. Them's the breaks. Well, you know, there's this and more. There's more, Jason? Oh, yes, I came fully locked and loaded. Doesn't matter where I'm at. We are always prepared. We are the new black media. I came fully locked and loaded. And just in case, if you're a person who just figured, well, maybe the worst is over. Oh, no, it isn't. I'm going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. But oh, no, we got more to slap on your ass. Just understand that. We absolutely do. If you thought this was just limited to Florida and Biden, oh, hell no. You're not going to get off the hook anywhere near that close. Not anywhere near that close. So we're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. Before we do, I want to thank everyone and everybody who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Cash App, or at least here on this YouTube channel, you can actually contribute to the Super Chat. So I see you all there in the Super Chat who have contributed as well. So thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. And to my man Andrew, Chadwick, and Mr. Baker, thank you very much for supporting the program. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break and come back with more about how the Democrats are losing ground and panicking across the board and should be. This is the Black Channel.
If you're tired of being censored on social media, join 60s.net. It's black owned, black operated, and black moderated. And we make sure it stays a safe space for us to talk about all things black culture. We also got some cool gear like the FDM cotton crew neck, the Fearless Ancestors tee, hats, and more. Check us out at 60s.net. Hey girl, why are you so sad?
I just got banned from Twitter again.
Should have been on 60s.net. Ah.
The white supremacists use division as a weapon, dividing our families, our wealth, rewarding traitors, murdering heroes. Yet we survived. We fought for our reparations. Now it's our turn to divide and administer God's power. I am Agent Nuria Sellers, a foundational Black American. I promise that nothing will come between us. Buy the sci-fi novel, Nothing Will Come Between Us. Available January 22nd. Pre-order online today at Amazon and Google Play. Spirit of1811publishing.com. Our story, our family.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
Are you tired of being overcharged and forced into paying a monthly subscription for your Mac and Windows software? Well, if you are, currently we're having a 50% off discount on all the latest Mac and Windows software, such as AutoCAD, SolidWorks, Photoshop, Microsoft Office, and much more. Our 50% off discount will be ending soon, so be sure to text us NEED SOFTWARE to 323-407-8214. That's 323-407-8214. We aim to please, so expect 24/7 technical support, the latest premium software, instant software links delivered to your email, and PayPal's buyer's protection guarantee.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the headquarters of the Black Media. Very glad to have you all with us here this evening. And boy, just in case you thought it was going to get easier, if you thought it was going to get easier, oh hell no it hasn't, because just in case you hadn't heard, if you hadn't gotten word, if you figured everything else I dropped on you here so far wasn't proof enough, oh no! Oh no, I saved everything. I saved everything for you here. First of all, I would like to thank Attorney General Letitia James of New York. I would like to thank her for dropping this ill-advised, lunatic, foolish, idiotic idea that she could ever run for governor of New York with her specious record against black people. I'd like to thank you for saving me from having to buy the billboards with your name on it. Letitia, thank you for sparing me the expense of having to take out some billboards on you. I took out some on Andrew Cuomo. Took out some on Keisha Bottom B. So thank you for saving me the expense of having to buy your billboards, having to buy your radio ads, having to buy your TV ads. Thank you for saving me the trouble of having to do that. Thank you for tossing your clown cap out of the ring as the princess of pudding pops and cupcakes marches back. I mean, this heifer didn't make it a full 2 or 3 months, did she? Oh boy, if this were a business, grand opening, grand closing. Grand opening, she didn't even make it a season of The Bachelor. Think about that for a few moments. This heifer didn't even last a season of The Bachelor. Some of y'all are going to spend more time paying off Christmas gifts than she did running for governor of New York. Think about that for a few moments. Can you imagine what must have happened behind closed doors? She didn't even do like Kamala Harris. She didn't even go like to the Breakfast Club. She didn't even do that. She didn't even do that. Boy, I'm telling you, you know what must have happened? She must have did Thanksgiving with her kinfolk, and they was like, oh, heifer, we ain't voting for your ass. Really? She must have got her Uncle Jimmy must have told her, I ain't voting for your damn ass. That's the only people she could have talked to. She didn't have time to talk to any voters. She must have messed around when they were carving the turkey. She was sitting around the corner, must have heard her mama talking about, yeah, I'm going to vote for that white girl. What's her name, Hogle? Yeah, I'm voting for her. Maybe got some old bootlicking niggas out there on the patio smoking cigarettes. Yeah, Andrew Yang running again? Might see if I can vote for him. Is Yang running for governor again? Is he gonna run? You know, I ain't voting for Letitia. I'll be damned. Come on now. Come on now. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Well, she must have had an opportunity to think it over. Must have had an opportunity to think it over because it couldn't have been very damn long. Boy, I'm telling you, it couldn't have been very damn long. Who the hell could she actually have spoken to say anything? That's the thing I'm taking a look at. Who in the hell did you actually speak to who could have said something? She didn't even make it out the gate. That was ugly. That was ugly. So they're probably going to sit around and blame me, by the way. Letitia is probably going to blame me. But I done knocked more of these bedwenches out of elections than Babe Ruth was knocking balls out of the park before Hank Aaron came and ruined the damn party. Boy, I'm telling you. I'm knocking these bedwenches out of politics like Barry Bonds was knocking out grand slams. What the hell? Boy, they're going to have me on speed dial here in just a minute. I mean, look, Kamala Harris ran. I put out my video. Oh, it was all over right after that. Letitia James, as soon as she announced, oh, let me go ahead and run down your resume. Next thing you know, she's gone. I'll be damned. Is it my fault? Is it my fault? Are they going to have to put together a political action committee against me? Is it my fault? It ain't my fault. Okay, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Well, if you'll take a look at the story there from Fox 5, it says, saying she would focus on running for re-election instead, New York Attorney General Letitia James dropped out of the race for governor of the Empire State on Thursday. Quote, I have come to the conclusion that I must continue my work as Attorney General, she said in the news release. There are a number of important investigations and cases that are underway, and I intend to finish the job. I am running for re-election to complete the work New Yorkers elected me to do. Well, that's strange. A couple of months ago, you wasn't talking like that. Something must have changed. James formally announced her candidacy on October 29th in a video statement. She had entered the race as a formidable candidate for the Democratic nomination just months after issuing a damning report that drove Andrew Cuomo from office in a sexual harassment scandal. By the way, the Cuomos are deep off in the political game up there, so knocking off Cuomo was probably the end of her damn political life, but mammies don't think that way because they think white folk really love them. They think they're the special Negro that white folk adore. Then they go off and go overstep their boundaries, and then all of a sudden, ooh, I didn't know they were going to pull the rug out from under me. Hell, there was no way in the world you was going to knock off Andrew Cuomo and then go get to sit in his seat. These bedwenches be smoking big joints, don't they? They be smoking big blunts. I mean, they be lacing it with all kinds of illicit substances and be rolling up big blunts. I'm gonna get that Andrew out of here and nigga, I'm gonna be in that office. Why? Don't worry, can't nobody stop me. I'm the Attorney General. I'm the Attorney General. Hand me my Chuck Taylors. I'm putting them on. These white, you don't understand. These white folks love me. See, they don't love y'all, but they love me. They love me. Okay. All right. All right. See what she thinks now. Goes on to say here, James, 63. Letitia James, 63 years old, is the first woman elected as New York's Attorney General and the first black person to serve in the role. Notice how they tried to separate that, the first woman and black, as if it's two separate things. In this society, they don't give a damn about your gender. If you black, that's all that matters. But by the way, 63 years old, coloring her hair and everything. Talk about debutante syndrome. You got to watch out for these old niggas. Damn, Jason, you still keeping that kind of fire about it? You damn right. You got to watch out for these old niggas. They can dye their hair. They can get a facelift. They can get their Botox injections. They can do all that, but just understand, once a mammy, all a mammy. Always a mammy. It is what it is. So when you start seeing things looking the same, there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. She's brimming with contempt for black folk. That's why the white folks didn't have a problem electing her, because they were like, oh, well, she ain't gonna give us no problems. Then she went after Cuomo and it's like, oh, don't worry, we already got the leash to yank on her. We already got that. And they're going to say, with a power base in New York City, she was poised to be a top threat to Governor Kathy Hochul, who had been Cuomo's lieutenant governor. Had she been elected to the governor's mansion, James would have been the first black person elected to the role. Former Governor David Patterson took over in 2007 when Governor Eliot Spitzer resigned in the sex scandal and never ran for the office in his own right. James ended her campaign for governor the same day it was reported that she was seeking to have former President Donald Trump sit for a January 7th deposition in an ongoing civil probe into his business practices. James' office would not comment on the Trump matter, but it has spent more than 2 years looking at whether the Trump organization misled banks or tax officials about the value of assets. Hochul praised James for her work as AG. Since announcing her campaign in October, boy, that must have been a hell of a day. Ain't that embarrassing? This heifer barely made it 2 months. She barely made it 2 months with a quarter of a layaway plan. Since announcing her campaign in October, James held few campaign events or news conferences and mostly stuck to her official calendar as Attorney General. In recent weeks, she publicly called for the governor to take more aggressive measures to fight COVID-19 cases, such as imposing a statewide mask mandate. Yeah, talk about out of touch. James collected early endorsements from state lawmakers, local officials, and at least one nationally known Democrat, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison. That's not very helpful. That's not very helpful, is it? So needless to say, old Letitia James thought she was going to get elevated in the system, and boy, I'm telling you, she didn't even last the holiday season. Do you all understand that? She didn't last the holiday season. Some of the stuff that was on sale at Macy's hasn't come off sale yet, but her gubernatorial ambitions are already ended. Some of the stuff that Macy's put on sale back in October is still on sale, but she's out of the governor's race. Now, you know what the hell happened in politics. This is unnatural selection. She decided she was going to jump the line. Oh, I'm going to make my own mark out here. Damn them niggas. The Asians going to hold me down. The non-black folk going to hold me down. Everything else is going to be good. It's going to be sweet. And they just let him know, oh, nigga, you just symbolic. You just symbolic. Don't ever get it into your head that we got affinity for you. You're just symbolic. You better get back over there and get to looking through Trump's tax records. Don't get it into your head you run anything. Don't get it in your head you run anything. You don't. You better get yourself back over there to Ross and buy you another one of them blouses they got over there. But you can forget about running for governor. All hands up, I didn't see this coming, by the way. All hands up, I didn't see that coming. Because somebody got to tell her, oh, baby, you ran for governor just in time. Jason Black got time. Jason Black got time to be on your ass for the next 2 years. Jason Black's got time. Oh, I got time for it. Don't you know I was already on the line with Lamar? Don't y'all know I was already on the line with my reps at Lamar? Yeah, I need to get this billboard over there on Amsterdam. I need to get this one. Yes, I do. Might spring for one in Times Square this time. I don't know. It depends on how things go. I don't know. I'm trying to wish this heifer unmerry Christmas. Don't y'all know I was already on the line? I'm surprised the boy didn't send me an email outright. You know, Letitia James running for office. Do you need something? I got a feeling you might want something. I'm just sending you this email proactively. I got a feeling you might want something, Mr. Black. Just in case you do, here are our rates for the 5 boroughs. Just in case you need something. I'm just getting the feeling you might want something soon. Yeah, that's a wrap for her. Oh, well, we'll see whatever else is coming up here. Well, in any case, the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. As always, you are welcome to join us. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program here. Miss Ivory, I see you. Thank you very much, man, for your support there. We appreciate that. My man Andrew L., you're back in the game. We appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and throw these telephone lines open. The number is 646-787-1933. 646-787-1933. Everybody in the super chat, I see you out there. You're doing your thing. We appreciate that as well for you here. We're giving them that heat tonight about that. The Democrats are in a panic. They're losing ground, exactly as I told you it was going to be. I have never wavered. I've never compromised. I've never changed what I said. So last year, when there were a whole bunch of folk who were questioning the methodology, questioning whether or not we were right, talking about, oh, you just don't admit that you got it wrong and whatnot, never changed it. Where are those folk who said you don't want to admit you got it wrong? Where are they now? Can anyone find them? Do we need a Where's Waldo map? Should we hire Inspector Clouseau and the Pink Panther? What exactly do you all think we should do? Because the game is coming down exactly the way we told you, and everything's happening exactly the way that we said it was going to be. And now all of a sudden they're in trouble. The buffer class strategy isn't working quite the way they told themselves it would. The places where they have been depending upon that dependable black vote, it ain't breaking down like they were hoping that it would. And left and right, whether it is governors, Terry McAuliffe, would-be governors, Letitia James, or even presidents, Joe Biden, they're already admitting that there's cracks in the foundation and that the walls are failing. But we were telling them the whole time, no, the truth is you already knew that you were failing and faltering. You already knew this. You've been trying to deceive everybody into thinking everything was okay. I was the guy who was telling them, no, they're just as much in every bit as trouble as we told you they were the entire time. Now they're finally admitting it. You know why? Because elections have to be plotted out a year in advance. And if the media sits up here and tells everybody that everything's fine with Biden, they know full damn well when the Democrats lose in 2022, they're going to have to sit up here and say exactly what it was for. We're going to go ahead and open up the telephone lines here now. Everybody who's on the line, please keep your comments brief and to the point. No monologuing, or we will help you to keep your comments brief and to the point. Let me get caller from area code 860. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Crazy Check from Hartford, Connecticut.
Okay, Crazy Check. Did you call in last night?
Yeah, I called last night.
Okay, one call per week. Thank you all. If you called in this week, we got a lot of folk on the lines. You can't call in every night. One call per week. Thank you. Let me get caller from area code 803. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Ethan Greetings, brother Black Authority. This is Silent D calling out of Atlanta, Georgia, originally from South Carolina.
All right, Silent out of Atlanta. What's on your mind?
So I just want to let you know, once again, great broadcast. You always bring the fire. And this should be a lesson that people need to start listening to the new black media and all of us who are on code. And if not, you're going to be ending up like folks like Letitia James. That is pretty much getting her nigga wake-up call. And that's pretty much it. Once again, thank you for these great broadcasts. You keep doing what you do. Stay blessed, stay safe, and be one, okay?
Black First Brother, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Like I say, I mean, if we were in the wrong, they'd be able to prove that very, very quickly now. Let me get caller from area code 419. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, Jason? This is Joe from Toledo.
Joe from Toledo, what's on your mind?
You always keep it 100. And like you just said, example, Wilson Good in Philadelphia. The politicians, they do not support no black effort for years. Be one. Thanks for pushing that message.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from area code 469. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Thomas calling from Dallas, Texas.
Thomas from Dallas, what's on your mind?
Yeah, Jason, I don't think the Democratic Party, they never seen this coming, you know, with the new black media. And those billboards do work. Remember, Oprah Winfrey was trying to compete with you when you put those billboards up for Breonna Taylor. And they struggling right now because the black media has just came and just took over. I mean, black people are coming together and understanding what they're trying to do. The politics, it's a wrap for the Democrats, and it's a wrap for anybody who's try to fool us anymore. I mean,
well, you're not going to be able to sit up here. You're not going to be able to sit up here and fake your way into fooling us into thinking that, taking photo ops is a black agenda. There are going to be some places where you've got clown ass niggas, like, I just got to say it, in Atlanta, where they're used to performing and entertaining. And in places like that, you might be able to get that to work to a certain extent. But what we're seeing here is, by and large, the national conversation has changed. Black folk as a group are no longer interested in being entertained and having politicians try to be entertaining. We are actually insisting on concrete tangibles. We're expecting concrete results. And the same old same is not going to do. So what you start noticing is numbers start slipping. Now, what the duplicitous, deceptive, demonic white supremacist media tries to do is tell you that, yes, things are changing, but it ain't got nothing to do with you. Now, that's the next thing they're going to try to say is that, well, yeah, these things are changing, but it's because of climate change. See, Biden's losing support because of climate change. Well, okay, I thought people loved climate change. That's what y'all were telling us there. So what they're going to try to tell you is this has nothing to do with black people. Has nothing to do with the black vote in Virginia. Oh, it ain't nothing to do with that. So on the one side of their mouths, they will tell you the only reason these politicians won was because of the black vote. But as soon as they start losing, oh, it ain't got nothing to do with you. So mark my words, that's going to be the next thing they start saying when the avalanche of losses pile up. That's what they're going to say until eventually they have no choice but to confront it. And then they're going to try to resort to shaming tactics, which is what they do. But remember what I said, when people ask me, well, Jason, what do you think they're going to do next? Do you think the Democrats are going to get smarter? I said, oh, hell no. I said, no, they're going to double down. Now, absolutely. When people ask me what they're going to do, remember from the very beginning, I told you, they're going to double down. They're not going to give this up because they're the flip side of the other corner white supremacy. They're the flip side of the coin of white supremacy. Their job is to try to pat us on the head while giving us nothing, while the Republicans' job is to swing at us, to hit us in the jaw and give us nothing. But that's what the game that they're playing. So they're just going to try to figure out some benign way to do the same thing the Republicans are doing, but to somehow make us happy with the situation. So just be very, very clear about that. As you're looking here, the next step is going to be that all these losses, they're going to sit up here and characterize it as it had nothing to do with black people. That this is just something that happened for some other reason, but it had nothing to do with us. They're going to blame it on bots. They're going to blame it on social media. They're going to blame it on the Russians. They're going to blame it on every damn thing else. They're not going to bring it back to black folk, because to admit such a thing is to admit the national narrative has changed, and that if you don't deal with this, nothing can get better. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 910. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Malcolm from Fayetteville.
Okay, if you're on speaker or a satellite phone, you might want to call us from a different one.
Oh, no, I have my mask on. I'm sorry. This is Malcolm from Fayetteville.
Okay, Malcolm, it sounds like you're calling us from the moon landing. You said you're in Fayetteville?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what's on your mind, Malcolm?
Okay, I'm not telling anybody to vote or whatnot, but I remember what you said, how white supremacy uses everything as a metric. So what would happen if we all registered to vote and put independent, like not go vote, but have them fully see that we're breaking off from both the political spectrum or not, but both the political party or not? I'm just giving your thoughts. If they saw that we all went independent and just not even joining a party, not even go voting.
Dr. Claude Anderson said it best. You don't exercise your right to vote. Voting is not an exercise. If you want to exercise, get on a bicycle, go down the park and jog and exercise all you like. You do not vote for anything other than to attain concrete, tangible results for yourself. That's it. You do not vote for any other reason. You don't vote symbolically. You do not vote to send a symbolic message. Voting is to send a concrete, definitive, deadly, serious message. So, and understand something. Black people not voting was deafeningly silent, because they saw the numbers they had before, and then they see when the numbers disappear, they understand that. So just, quote, voting independent, well, that could go in any which direction, because the real problem is You could vote for any number of people who are not Democrats. That's an independent vote. You could vote for any number of people who are not. That doesn't necessarily say one thing or the other. But when they see everybody moving in one direction, even if that direction is to not vote. Now, remember, in the last election, that was the thing they were panicking about the most. Remember, in the last election, they were most panicked. In the last presidential election, Roland Martin, the rest of them, they were all panicking about black folks saying, you know what, there's nothing to vote for. Now, that got their damn attention. Joe Biden, if you ain't voting for me, you ain't black. That was panic. That was full-blown panic.
Very true.
So just understand what that means. But thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. No, you don't have to understand your vote sends a message, but you don't vote to be symbolic. Don't overthink it or, psych yourself out over it. You vote for a specific reason. If you vote, then whatever you put your vote down for needs to be in your interests, and there shouldn't be anything else. But don't vote as a game or some reverse psychology. That's not the reason you vote for anything. Let me get called from area code 908. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Omar from Trenton.
Omar from Trenton. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I got two questions. One question is the city of New York. You had a program yesterday saying they're trying to enact policy to let the immigrant class vote. I just want to know, for the first question, do you think the same thing that's happening in Florida was happening in New York State? And the second one is California has a very big Hispanic population. Why hasn't that turned Republican like that yet? Well, all those Mexicans coming from Mexico. It still remains Democrat.
Well, the reason is because you have some differences there, because the Latino population coming into Florida, a lot of that's coming from Cuba and Puerto Rico. So you're talking about U.S. territories already. And in those situations, these are places that are not friendly towards communism, or in the case of Cuba, not towards socialism. So thank you very much for giving us a call. He sounds like he's breathing and feeling on himself. I don't want to get him too excited. So, but in Florida, those are not really Mexicans. Those are mainly Cubans and Puerto Ricans. So you got that going on. Now, when you're dealing with New York, now you're dealing with a bunch of Dominicans. And in the case of the Dominicans, quite frankly, they tend to be about trying to get what they can get. Because in the case of Florida, these are individuals who are exiles from a nation, but they want to go back to where they came from. Let me be very, very clear. Anybody who's in Florida knows the Cubans are like, hey, Florida's nice, but Cuba is better. They want to go back where they're from. They see Florida as a strategic fallback, but they're not really trying to be, quote, Floridians or Americans like that. When it comes to the Dominicans, they're just on the run. They ran. They're like, damn Dominica. We don't give a damn about that. Nobody cares about that place. So these are folks who fled from where they're from. They don't care about it. They're not trying to fix it. They don't want any part of it. They see no value in it. They're not fighting for it. They're not insulted when you talk about it ain't worth having. So there's a difference. Same thing with the Mexicans. The Mexicans are like, man, I ain't left nothing in Mexico. I ain't lost nothing in Mexico. I ain't lost a damn thing there. That's the way the Mexicans see Mexico. I ain't lost nothing. That is why it doesn't offend them when politicians talk badly about Mexico. They don't care about it. They're not fighting to increase or to improve their lot in Mexico. They didn't have anything in Mexico. They're trying to improve their position in America. But let's be very, very clear. The only issue that they agree with these people about is whether or not you should allow in more illegals, because they understand that there's strength in numbers. But that's the only reason. That's the only reason they want more illegals here, is because the illegals understand their strength in numbers. But on every other issue, remember, these people are European cultures, usually Catholic in nature. They're usually Catholic by religion. So you start seeing a lot of quote unquote conservative values when you get beyond that part. So what they try to do, the strategy has been to get them all off into these universities so that they can indoctrinate them. But just understand, eventually that reaches a critical mass and you're no longer able to make that work like it used to. So, because remember, California voted for Reagan and Schwarzenegger. Don't tell yourself for a second that it cannot revert. It can. It absolutely can. These people are trying to stall for time. They're trying to stall for time. But let's just be very, very clear. That's the way the game is going. Let me get caller from area code 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, big brother Jason. This is brother Elijah calling out of Las Vegas.
Elijah out of Las Vegas. What's on your mind?
Brother, before I say anything, thank you for tonight and last night's broadcast. Powerful as usual. And that's why I always hold you in high reverence, my brother. I need to ask you this question, though. I'm originally from New York City, and I'm from Brooklyn originally. And I didn't understand what was going on until you brought the program. How could they just leapfrog over the Black New Yorkers? And the Black New Yorkers is probably like the second biggest population in New York City, to pass the bill for some Dominican people. That's what I wanted to know, brother.
Because black folk have been playing this black and brown game. When you had Adam Clayton Powell stomping around, we were talking about being black folk, but since then, you've had black folk pretending like everything's fine and everything's great. And one of the Achilles tendons of New York has been that black folk in New York, if they've had a deficiency, it's that it's kind of like drugs, to be totally honest. They have been using the fact that they're from New York as escapism. So as New York has gained, national notoriety and the rap game and everything else, it became this cultural center. And because of that, folks were just bragging about being from New York. So simply being from New York has been enough for them. That became, a coping mechanism. That became that for them. And that they've been latching on to that ever since. That is the problem.
Yes.
So even though they don't actually have anything, they hold on to that.
Yes.
Now wait a minute. The next problem is they've got emotional real estate, but they don't have any socioeconomic real estate. So one of the things, you got bragging rights because they've been latching on to emotional satisfaction, vicarious satisfaction, the bragging rights of saying I'm from New York. Yeah, but you don't own anything in New York. So they've been hiding behind those bragging rights. I'm from New York. I'm from New York. I'm from New York. It's only when we started asking, okay, well, what do you own? Because all those stuff that makes you valuable, what do you actually own? And at that point, they don't have that. That becomes the issue.
Exactly.
So they've been holding on to that. The next thing that happens is you have, well, what do they have? Well, then they start gravitating to swag. Then they start gravitating to swag. And it becomes a situation where these folks are sitting up here and it becomes about interracial sexual access. Next thing you know, it becomes about chasing. We saw this happening in the 90s. Vibe magazine, The Source magazine, XXL. They started getting real heavy off into promoting these Latinas. Now, not even Afro Latinas. Not even Afro Latinas. They got real heavy off into promoting straight up white Latinas, straight up on MTV, MTV, Hot 97. What was her name? That Angie Martinez chick. They came in promoting straight up white Latinas in these black cultural circles. Rap music became a vehicle to promote that. So Negroes up there, that started becoming the thing to do. Just like with Superfly, they use that as a vehicle to promote drug use. Next thing you know, they started taking rap and use that as a vehicle to promote Latinas over black women. And we were sounding the alarm then. We were sounding the alarm back then when we saw that happening. We were sounding the alarm when we saw that occurring. But then you got 50 Cent. Go take a look at the last time 50 Cent was on the Breakfast Club with G Unit. All them dumbass niggas up there talking about they got babies by Latinas. Like that's something fly. Like that's something great. Like that's something wonderful. When you could never see a bunch of Latino dudes sitting up there talking about they got babies by black women. They would never tell you that. If it were a black woman, they would talk about where she's from. Oh, she's Dominican. I got a baby by a Dominican. They wouldn't be talking about Latinas. Like that's something fly. Like that's something great. So just understand this has been a slow slide toward Gomorrah for a while now. And a lot of these fellas who got their record deals that the system promoted, the system made sure to promote individuals who would perpetuate this type of degeneracy. And so now you have favored interracial sexual access, sexual hedonism above survival. And here you are.
Yes, exactly. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. You know, if I could really sum it up, I would say that if you want to know why it is they leapfrog black folk for these Dominicans, it's because black people in New York, too many of them, not all of them, not all of them, not all of them, but too many of them turned sexual access into a political agenda. They turned sexual access into a political goal. And once they gained sexual access, they began slow rolling everything else. As long as they had sexual access, what the police did was nominal. What the landlords did is nominal. Gentrification is nominal. So yeah, a roof over their heads is nominal. Long as they got sexual access. So sexual access became their political agenda. Meanwhile, the Puerto Rican females, the Dominican females, the Cuban females, hell, even the Haitian and Jamaican females you laying up with, they got a political agenda of trying to get resources for themselves. While you sitting up here talking about, well, sexual access is the political agenda I'm pursuing. So think of it in those terms. The Dominicans leapfrogged you because you turned sexual access into a political agenda. Let me get called from area code 443. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Black Autonomy out of Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Black Autonomy out of Fredericksburg. What's on your mind?
Your political commentaries when you're showing always a point for me to take notes and understand what's going on, because I'm not politically inclined, such as yourself and other people on the show. But one thing I do understand is that the crack in the foundation that's going on in the political arena now started here. It started with the black media. It started with everybody that's listening now and that's aggregating and withholding our votes. It started here. We're putting the crack in that foundation. Now what we have to do is take this power that we have and make them bend to our will. So to the point where we can have a Judge Olu Stevens in every goddamn state. That's the next step. Be one.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 201. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Jason. This is Nikki McBoy calling from Bayonne, New Jersey.
All right, Nikki from Bayonne. What's on your mind?
Thank you. I would like to thank you for all that you do. The business channel and your TBA channel has helped me to get on code with white supremacy. And the words of Neely Fuller. I'm still learning. Thank you. That's all I would like to say.
Well, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Nikki, please do give us a call again here. Well, like I say, folks, a lot of people were doubting it. A lot of people were questioning it. A lot of people were wondering. A lot fewer people are very vocal about that right now. And there is your proof. If you want to know who was right, if you want to know who was correct, if you want to know which way things were going long before it gets there, if you want to watch the events as they happen, go tune into all these other people misleading you every step of the way. If you want to know what's going to occur before it happens, if you want to be ahead of the curve, there's only one place to be, and that is the Black Media. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I got some things to take care of here in that regard, but you understand how it is. I want to thank everyone who has joined us for tonight's program. Thank you very much for doing that as well. If you haven't been here before, you want to go ahead and sign up for this channel here as well. Definitely, whenever they mess with my main channel, I got this one here from a backup also, so make sure you keep up with that also. I want to thank everyone who's contributed to tonight's program. Thank you for everyone who's contributed on PayPal, Cash App, or Super Chat. Thank you for that much as well. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do so now. We are the Black Media, and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m. Gentrified and Race War, all available on our website, BlackChannelFilms.com. Give the gift of Black empowerment for the holidays. BlackChannelFilms.com. That is BlackChannelFilms.com. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.